Go ahead, Michelle.
I gotta introduce it?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Hi, guys. Welcome
Hello.
to Shit
Yes.
That Matters.
Hello.
Welcome back. Welcome
Yes.
for your first time here.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This
we are
microphone is
too.
amazing.
So,
Doesn't it make you feel important?
I really feel like I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Shouldn't you
Come on,
be
baby.
holding your earpiece or something?
You
Say
can't
you love
leave
me
without-
5, 6, 7 times.
we got to have you do the
gotta-
Bishop Grimes cheer before
Oh, yeah,
you're
yeah.
here.
We are the Cobras, and the Cobras are great. How did you know that?
You and Jen Schultz.
Oh, that's right.
You guys
We
went to
are
high
Cobras.
school?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you cheer at?
I played basketball all the way through, and I cheered 1 year, and my brothers didn't talk to me for that whole year because they were upset that I switched. I did
Really? Who'd you
enjoy-
play for?
I did play for Grimes. I played.
Who was your coach?
They had several different coaches, but Teresa Quilty was the varsity coach. So we did Mr. Priano. Do you know him?
No.
He was a St. Daniel's guy, but he coached me for JV. And then Teresa Quilty she had played for SU.
Oh, wow.
Like the Grimes program at that point was not very good. We had played against Ludden and we lost 65-5.
Oh my god.
I had the 3-pointer and the 2 foul shots.
Oh, my
And
God.
it said in the paper the next day, no, this is not a misprint. So that was
Oh, my gosh.
fantastic. They
man.
pressed us the
She had
whole
all
game.
5 points.
Wow.
All-star.
I mean,
All-star.
it was embarrassing. My hair looked great though during the game. So.
That's what matters.
And then you switched sides and went to cheerleading.
I did.
Yeah.
I needed to cheer him on.
Yeah. Oh my
Gosh,
god.
that's too funny. Michelle played. You played, Jen, or? You
I
just-
did. I mean, I was a CYO
Yeah.
guy when I was in. So I made it a little ways, and then I had to play CYO. And Michelle's dad was my coach at St. Pat's, and we were pretty good. It was certainly a lot of fun. And then you realize after the fact that this guy's probably 7 years older than me. You know, it
Yeah.
seemed like he was 20 years older. But
Yeah. Okay, well, we didn't even introduce you guys. So because we know you, but we should probably introduce
Kevin
you.
McHale, nice to meet everybody.
Okay, so do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Give us a little bit about you.
How about you start?
Okay.
Okay.
It's very nice to
I'm
meet
John
you.
Mannion. I'm currently a New York State Senator. I was a teacher for a long
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And, I grew up on Tipperary Hill. I taught at West Genesee, Nottingham, and CBA. Now I'm a senator. I'm disabilities chair, and I enjoy that very much. And the best and biggest part of my life is that I've been married to you for over 25 years and together for 30, and we have 3 great kids. And with that, I'll introduce my loving wife, Jennifer Brady Mannion.
Hello.
Nice.
He paid me to be here today. And no, just kidding. So I grew up in Eastwood on the other side of town. He's a Tip Hill guy.
Ooh.
And we met at Parks and Rec. We were wearing matching powdered blue Parks and Rec t-shirts. And
Nice.
it was love at first sight.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 18 and he was 23, but we didn't start dating for a year and a half or 2 years after that.
I thought when you went, she was like 14 and you were 20 or
No,
something.
it's
Oh
not.
my God.
But I was out of college, and then I had got my degree from Binghamton in biology. I spent a year trying to figure it out what I was going to do, and then I worked Syracuse City Parks, which I had other times when I was in high school, and we were assigned to the same park, and we were very good friends that summer. And then about 6 months after we broke away from each other that summer, we ended up starting to date. She went to Lemoyne. I went to get my grad degree up in SUNY Oswego, and it was on the Sub Shop Street.
Yes.
Where we first.
Yeah, you're from Oswego, right?
I'm from
Close by.
from Altmar.
Oh, yeah.
DW, born and raised.
W.
Rebels.
A lot of snow days.
Yeah, a lot of snow days. But we live in Fulton now, but I'm familiar with Oswego very
The
much.
city with an Ucher. We got to get an F
Yeah,
back on there.
Yeah, there's no more sign, man. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's challenging in Fulton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oswego's doing really well, but this is Billy's. I think Billy's last
That's what I
term
hear.
as mayor.
Yeah.
He can't be mayor anymore after this, but he's a great, probably one of the
Everybody
best
said
mayors.
he's great, right?
He,
Pro
You have good
business, pro
respect,
people,
yeah.
he's a
Sure.
really good guy.
He's very well
Yeah.
respected. But I will say this: for years, I thought your school district's name was actually Altmar Parish Williamstown 2-hour delay.
Yeah, because that's all it was. Yes.
Carrier third shift closed.
Yes.
Sorry, we can
I
go
always
through
thought
that.
this is weird. You wonder how, I don't even know how'd you and Pat meet?
Well, we went to the same high school, but he's 2 years older than me, but I didn't know him while we were in high school. So we ran into each other at a concert downtown a couple summers ago, my brother's concert. And he worked for my dad at O'Day's, and he was good friends with my brother because they worked there together. And so he was at the show, and then I was at the show.
So you have to believe, I mean, whatever your belief system is, you got to believe in karma.
I do.
Because
I do.
what if you don't go back and work that summer? Where's your life now if you don't meet her then?
Sure. Well,
You know?
I'd rather not answer.
Yeah, yes.
Honestly, but I think we both believe in that, and we could give multiple instances of things that were like that can't just
How
be
did that-
coincidence.
right.
How did that
It's got to
happen?
be
Yeah.
a
This
reason.
person dropped into our lives at just the right time, things like that. But I will say this: so we were at Schiller Park, which was like opening day for Syracuse Parks and Rec, and it's like that orientation day.
And you know Tim Murphy.
Yeah.
Tim Murphy was our third musketeer that we all worked together. It really wasn't like work.
He was
I literally can't imagine that it was like
he was
not
Joyce
fun.
he was Joyce DeWitt in
Yeah.
Three's Company
Yeah.
of the three of us. So we had a lot of fun in the city park, and we all kind of had a played off each other from a comedy routine in there. But I mean this, and I say it, and I've said it to you and others, which is I was somehow on time and sitting there, and you come up these stairs, and you're sort of in this community room, and I could see her walk up the stairs, and she turned the corner, and I said, "That's the girl I'm going to marry."
Really?
And-
Oh my
and
gosh.
I didn't say it out loud.
Right.
And then you sat right next to me, and then we were assigned to the same park.
Oh my gosh.
my
That's
gosh.
crazy.
So the funny thing is, he's just,
Interesting.
when I meet somebody, I'm like, "Hi, how are you? Hi, I'm Jen. I want you to know me."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey," like, and then you
Yeah.
forget him or whatever, you know.
What'd you say your nickname was back then?
Oh, thank you. So growing up on Tip Hill, everybody had a nickname, and my nickname was Rocky because I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and honestly, I happened to wear a Rocky Blyer jersey, number 20, for the Steelers
Like one time.
a day at the boys' club, and
Boom.
people started calling me Rocky, and that was it. So
Rocky can't be showing his love right off the first bat.
That's
man,
true.
you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Rising up. I can break into song
Yeah.
anytime.
At any point.
Well,
Yeah.
so then the first day we worked together, I had left. The funny thing is, my kids found, Dead Poets Society had come
Yeah.
out, so I had a journal because we,
Oh
we're
my
poets
God.
after
I
seeing
would
that
never
movie.
have written
Yeah.
down the stuff I was doing.
But this is what's so embarrassing. They just found the journal. I wrote all about the first day. I said, I met the man that I want to marry. And
Oh my
he's
God.
so wonderful. And it's like we've been friends, and it's so easy and effortless. And they were reading it to me, and
Then it
I
said
was
his name was
so-
Tim Murphy.
that one I do have. So the other story I
we
tell
need to
is
get Tim Murphy
so
in
I'm
here.
sitting there.
I know. Oh my God.
The other story
be
I would
funny.
say is I'm at Schiller Park. It's orientation. It's opening day, and this girl walks up the stairs, and I say, "That's the girl I'm going to marry." And she starts walking towards me, and sure enough, she sat right next to Jen. But
Oh my God.
that's not. That's
He said
not,
that at
that's
a
not the tru-
rehearsal today.
That's not the
He's
true
so
story.
sweet.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the coolest thing I think about meeting you guys and knowing you guys is you meet some people that are in the political arena and they have this. I don't know if they feel like they have to have this air about them or this maybe I don't know if you call it professionalism. Maybe isn't. I don't mean to say you're not professional, but this whole
You
kind
can
of
say that about me.
Or like just pressure to be something other than
Sure,
who you
Sure,
are.
to change or
Yeah.
and I
Put
don't
on a
take anything
show
away from the other
almost,
people
yeah.
I've met, but the other people I've met, I'm sure they have positive and fulfilling marriages and stuff, but not like you guys. You guys, it oozes that you guys are best friends and that you got out. And literally, we all know that when his term is up, you should have ran. I mean, I've been watching West Wing, a lot of West Wing.
Everybody tells me I should watch that.
Oh my
show.
God,
Is it
great show! But
Yeah.
but they talk
Is
about
it
how
good?
Jed Bartlett should have not been the president. Leo should have been the president.
Sure.
He got her to run. So you're.
Isn't that funny?
she's
She
your
gets
Leo.
that. She gets it all the time. She really does.
I have to say-
It's
Yeah, but
continuous. And
here's the funny thing: I have been in the front for 20 years of our marriage. Like, I'm the one,
Yeah.
and it's his turn to shine.
Yeah.
And I love watching him. I think he's really good at it. He listens. Like we went to Albany this summer, and there was some get together, and somebody walked up to me and they said, "Are you John's wife?" And I said, "Yeah." And the guy said, "He is so good at what he does. He listens to us, but not only does he listen, he has action right away to help us. And when I hear that, you're excited
good,
for
yeah.
him. You know
Might
what I
have
mean?
Bud,
And you're,
Bud might have said
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah, no.
but I did say I ran for office to get my identity back. As Jen Brady's husband for a long time.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I also feel like it's really cool because you're very like vocal and whatever, and to see you cheering him on.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
I
that's-
love
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Like it's that definitely like you
I am number one.
number one
Office
fan.
fan.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for
yes,
sure.
and that's so awesome. I feel like
Woohoo!
that's
Like everybody's
great.
waiting for a woohoo in the crowd when I'm, and you know,
Yeah.
you're just.
And
Would
your
you
kids
ever?
are- Go ahead.
No, sorry. Would you ever run?
I don't have any desire to.
Oh.
I think we do it. There's so much of it that happens together, like the decisions he makes, we talk about it, and he jokes that I monitor, like I'm paying attention to what, and the mama bear comes out when somebody attacks him
Yes.
or, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Which,
Well, that's why I
know.
couldn't do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Because
is,
I
yeah.
couldn't take. My people pick on me all the time. I have to have this overwhelmingly need to be liked sometimes.
Sure.
I don't
get
want
that.
to when somebody's critical, but I will take positiveness that a lot of my friends have said or people I've partnered with have said. For the most part, they've never heard anybody say anything bad about me. Like I'm not out there.
You are.
losing
You
my-
have such a desire to help people, and
But so do you. But why do
Yeah.
I couldn't take the abuse that you see people give you?
I think it's kind of a funny thing that who just said this with Damar Hamlin, the
Yeah.
announcer. He said, "People forget that we're human. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
think politician equals something bad, or he's deceptive, or he's a liar, or a cheater, and." Then they just attack with their words,
Yeah.
on social media or whatever. But
Because you can be anonymous.
Yeah,
now.
and
too, like that, I feel like there's like an overwhelming sense of people being like, well, this is what you signed up for. And it's
Right.
like,
Oh, yeah.
no.
Right.
I mean, I signed, like, you going into it, that's something that that's going to happen, but you're not like, okay, yeah, I'm going, I have to
read?
go to Albany, blah,
What
blah,
they
blah, and then
say?
get attacked. Like, that's not.
You're told not to really, and
How can you not?
But it
man?
doesn't bother me. I encourage or discourage my kids and
Yeah.
Jen from not reading those things because they care about me, and then they are like, that's not fair. And most of what's written, honestly, how I carry myself and carry myself politically is that, a lot of things that are said are either I'm not responsible for, they're an exaggeration of the truth, they're lumping me into a group, they're not informed. I actually have taken action that they might be appreciative of. I don't really engage in social media. If somebody writes and says, hey, by the way, we contacted your office and I need help with something, that gets passed
yeah.
to the staff and we take care of that. So it doesn't bother me. I think initially, now I'm 5 years in, I started in 2018. It was impactful. And the joke I'll say is like, my kids didn't know how bad of a person I was until I ran for office. You do sign up for it. I do take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes there's things that are said that are valid. There's some people that are very knowledgeable about like my legislation or how I voted, and that's all fair criticism. It's just that the majority of the criticism out there is unfair, and just like we sat here with Congressman Katko
Yeah.
a couple years ago, I mean, I've seen things that are on social media that attack him, and they're either not truthful or unfair, and he is also a human being and has kids, and the one thing that stands out was it was a Veterans Day post with his father
That bothered
and
you.
his sons.
Yeah.
And, his father was a veteran, and it's Veterans Day. And I think he's allowed to honor his father and
Yeah,
stand
my
there with
gosh,
his
yeah.
family
It's awful
and not
when
be
somebody-
ripped into a vote he made in Congress or what his party's position is. That's the bad
Yeah.
thing. And I'm going to say this, and then I'll calm down, but I go, as a teacher for a long time. So again, I said this the other time, like, they don't know my politics. I don't know their politics.
Not supposed to.
Exactly. But then also, like, when I go to speak to law enforcement or I go to speak to, members of a fire department, they get the call, they go out, they don't they don't check
No,
voter
no.
enrollment to go, is this person a Democrat or a
Right.
Republican?
Before I go burn their fire out.
What's the
Yeah.
religion of this person?
Yeah,
What's their
yeah.
race? What's all that? They're there to serve. They go and serve, and we have to, I think we're kind of swinging back where people are people and we appreciate who they are and not just attack what they are. But
It's a small world sometimes too.
Yeah.
So John had been like you, is anytime we needed something, John was fortunate enough to have his cell number. I would send him a message, hey, this happened, is there any way you can help? You guys both quickly
great.
respond, super good. And I'm glad that he is taking the next chapter and retiring, and I guess he moved to Florida and bought a place.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So I'm out. One of my best friends, Pete Rossi, shout out to Pete. He lives in Florida, and he came back up here for some stuff, and we were out having drinks, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you won't believe who I met." I go, "Who?" He goes, "Guy moved into our thing. He's a big senator from up in upstate New York." I go, "Who?" He goes, "John Katko moved in the building next to me." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I was talking to him. He wants to learn about pickleball. I guess he's a really good guy." I go, "I got his fucking cell phone number if you want it."
Yeah.
So he goes, "Yeah, give me his cell phone number. He wants to learn how to play pickleball."
Well, when
But
he comes,
what a small world.
When he comes back to Camillus, John just helped fix the pickleball courts.
I did, yeah.
Oh,
Village
nice.
of Camillus and the town of Camillus both
Yeah.
have pickleball courts.
It's the hugest.
It's
Courtesy of
popular
state
up
grant.
at
Huge.
Camillus
I
Park
know.
or whatever.
It's funny
Yeah.
how
It's
that's
huge.
I mean, it's funny because in this whole thing, the biggest thing that I'm noticing is that I don't know if it's that because he's a teacher and you go into teaching not for money.
No.
You go into
Yeah.
teaching to help kids and see the growth of kids and make those connections. And he and I were fortunate to have some of my students went to him, or, we'd have siblings and that sort of thing. But in politics, you see so many, I mean, I shouldn't say so many, but there are pockets of them that you meet that it's about them.
Oh, I believe it.
And I'm
I
not
can
and I'm not
name some
even
names,
and
but
I'm not
yes.
even saying politicians. I'm saying the people that work within,
Oh,
you
really?
know, like
Yeah.
that
Interesting.
that it really sometimes isn't about what it should be about, which is helping people and wanting things to be better. Like, I feel his staff, every single one of them is amazing because they put themselves forward and first to help the people, and that's their biggest pride and their biggest joy. And
When you shouted them out at your inauguration,
they're fantastic.
they're like all these people are volunteering too, right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, some are official staff. So
Right.
some are hired, they work, they're state employees
Right.
in my office. And then there's others that are
I was really
There's a lot of
uncomfortable
volunteers. Yeah.
that day. That was 2 hours. I was in a room with a whole bunch of fucking Democrats. It was really uncomfortable.
They
Oh,
were
for the love
fantastic.
of
but they
God.
were
Yeah.
amazing people.
There was across every political spectrum there.
Yes.
I have supporters across everywhere. But I hear you. Yeah.
But it's nice when you really. I know. Did you just insult half the people listening to the podcast?
Well, yeah,
It's, I don't vote party line. I vote
I know,
for
yeah.
my conscience of the
Most of
person.
us don't,
Sure.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah, you act, but you're like that. They're just these different that you were
I
in
just
with
like picking on
Democrats. I'm
Sure.
like,
Democrats. So
yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you're going somewhere else, but you mentioned how we met, and you mentioned how.
Oh,
Michelle
yeah, how did
met.
you and
So
Kim meet?
You and your
you've
wife.
never heard
met.
my Reader's Digest story? Have you ever heard? This?
No.
I've heard all of your stories. Like,
All
when
I
I-
know,
6
she's an amazing
times.
dancer.
Yes.
I saw her on New Year's Eve.
Yes, she was
you know,
busting a move.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see you out there though.
Oh, because
Were you guys at the same?
No, I just saw he posted a video of her.
dancing at New
She
Year's
was really.
Oh, I'm
busted
off.
a move when she's
I'm
had
off
2
social
glasses of
media
wine.
for the month.
That's a great
Eve. Dry
idea.
Smart.
January. So,
Dude, I'm
Notice
doing.
me. Quinn goes, Mom, you need to get off of there. Like, you need a break. And
I
I'm
couldn't-
laughing
I
that my
couldn't get out. I
child
couldn't-
Yeah.
I'm on
is telling
too
me.
much.
There's no way. That's what. But Pat's doing dry January for drinks,
Yeah.
and I'm doing dry January for social media.
Smart.
Which
Are you doing dry
Wellness.
2023 for engagement, or is it? So, I'm sorry.
Can
Well,
I do?
I don't-
Can I do a reading or can I sing? And
What?
can I have this microphone? If
at the
way,
if there's
yes.
ever a proposal. No, I'm just
the
kidding.
funny thing is, you actually, the two of you look a lot alike. Do people say that? Like, do they think you're related?
If you were in
No.
Oswego County, you could,
I don't
you
know.
north of
No.
49.
Set me up, bud. And I'm
No,
not
No.
north
right?
of 49. I grew up there. We know what happens up there.
No, they don't. But it's funny because it's like he's a Tip Hill person too. So
Right, which
everybody
is- yeah.
has just has their opinions about how it's the another Tip Hill couple.
I mean, I
something.
think that the rooftop, the Sky Bar, would be a perfect location
Oh.
for.
My mom is obsessed with that because she doesn't want to pay for the wedding. No, I'm just kidding.
Pat,
Wait, is she really saying that or no?
Well,
Wait, is there engagement, or are we just talking about?
no,
has-
he's
oh my God,
he-
first podcast.
No, he has
was
not. We're
40
not
minutes,
engaged.
28 minutes of it was me just busting Pat's chop for not asking
Yeah,
her to marry.
and he can take it.
Is he going to wear lederhosen?
Oh yeah.
I don't
Sorry.
Were
understand.
you here for
What's
for,
happening?
Oktoberfest?
He had.
I was not.
He
No.
had-
Oh, he was
He
stressed
had
out.
a leader. He had a leaderhosen. He
I
was
saw him.
so happy.
And I
He
thought
was so
that's
happy.
he's in love if he's wearing that.
I went
He
up
was-
to him and I said, Pat, I got to say this. And he's like, what's going on? I go, you look amazing, but I 100% feel like you had this in your fucking closet, waiting for Michelle to say, hey, do you have anything for Oktoberfest? But you already had it. It wasn't like you had to go out and buy this, but you already had that in his closet.
Yeah,
'Cause he looked great in it.
He's like a theme person. He loves to host.
He was the
and
Grinch.
He loves.
Yes.
he was the
Oh,
Grinch. Yeah.
right,
So
yeah.
we had the Grinch all over wherever. I had him dancing on the bar and stuff. So he
Right.
was like, just had to have
so
a couple
fun.
beers first, but he did love it. But
So did
Hilarious.
you never? So Kim and I met. My
Oh,
parents,
yes.
my parents were married when I was till I was like 4 or 5 years old. We lived in Pennville, New York.
Yeah.
And
Love Pennville.
babysitter, watched all the kids in the neighborhood. Marie Ellen, who just passed, she was a great person, and all the kids in the neighborhood kind of got watched by the same person. And I had a best friend at the time. His name was Ronnie Jost, and his cousin was named Lynn Jones, and we were all best friends in like 5, 6 years old. Parents get divorced, they move away. But back in those days, that many time ago, you could still see kids. There was field days.
Sure.
So my parents were still friends with their parents, and we would go and connect and see each other and kind of play dates and stuff. Then we get on into high school. My mom remarried, and I went to APW. They went to Phoenix. So I played basketball, and I would play basketball against them. So I'd see Lynn or see Ronnie, and we're still kind of connected. I go to college, blah, blah, blah. Have some situations. We're home one summer. My buddies want to go to USA Sam's. We go to USA Sam's.
What was it? What else was that? Wait, was that
I
on
think
Erie
it got
Boulevard?
reduced to Sam's.
This is the one that's where the DMV is now on Taft Road.
Okay. Okay.
what is that? A bar?
Yeah, it was a great bar.
Oh, it was like
I'm like, I don't even know
like-
what
I was
words
not-
you're saying.
for us, Michelle. That was like you've heard poorhouse stories, like the poorhouse
Poorhouse
down,
West.
in, down in Western Lights.
Okay.
I
This
couldn't
was-
get it
Only
either.
this was more. This was more
I
like
went every day.
Studio 54.
We went every day, every day. So my buddies
What's
and
it
I.
called?
USA Sam's.
Oh.
I rented an apartment in Cicero then, and we went out to USA Sam's with a bunch of friends. My buddy went to meet this girl. Her friend was there. I started talking to her friend. Her friend says, "Oh, I live in Pennville." So me, all my moves. I said, "Oh, geez, do you know Ronnie Jocelyn Jones? They're my cousins." Oh my gosh, I know friends with them, blah, blah, blah. We start talking. So go out to the car, make out, before we leave. I ask her to go out again the next weekend. So she goes out the next weekend. We date that whole summer.
Yep.
I find out in hindsight that she talked to her best friend, and her best friend was like, "You should go out with this guy." And she's like, "I don't like the guy." She's like, "Well, he's got money. He's going to pay for your shit all summer. Go out with him." Well, clearly that didn't work because all the money I had, I spent on her. And since that summer, she's been paying everything for me. But so at the end of the summer, this Ronnie Joe's mom, Jan, has a summer party. She always has a summer party. And this is when you
And
know
you
there's
never
gonna,
met her
I'm-
through your friend,
not-
even
well,
though you were
this
his.
is where it's going.
Yeah.
So 4th of July, she has this big bash. This year we go, but we go as a couple, right? So we get there and we're hanging around, and I remember Jan. Jan remembers me, of course. I see Ron and the other ones. Jan goes in and pulls out a photo album, and in the photo album is Ronnie's 5th birthday party. So Ronnie's here,
You're kidding
I'm
me.
here, and Kim's standing next to me. She's
Stop
2,
it.
and I'm 5, and we're in the same picture.
Sure.
That's
so
yeah, it's cool.
adorable.
So,
That's cute.
so that's kind of cool. So
Awesome.
it's like karma.
That is fate.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
Karma.
you
It's
guys
amazing.
are
She was
meant to
stuck
be
with me,
together.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Aw.
karma. That's
Very
a
cool.
Small
ridiculous
world,
story.
yeah.
Long story.
I
couldn't
love
even tell
that.
that one before.
Yeah.
It's a
I
good
don't
one.
wait. Why are you calling it a Reader's Digest?
Because it's something you don't even know what Reader's Digest is. Do you? Oh
It's
my
like a
God,
magazine,
John, we're so-
right?
I was thinking the same thing, but now I do have. It's like this little short story. I think.
Like
Oh,
if you would
okay.
tell a story,
Yeah.
that
It's
would
got
make
a
you
nice little positive
wow.
ending.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh.
not like we
my
landed
God.
somebody
Am I
on the
that
moon
old?
or anything.
I'm going to be 60 this year. Am I that old?
You're looking great.
Yes. That's,
Yes.
You are.
Yeah. well,
Yeah.
Um.
If there's
That's
a party,
so
we want to invite.
funny.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a big 60th birthday party. we're having my birthday party June 10th, Heritage Hill, 5 to 9. Frank and Eshy, shout out to Frank and Eshy. They're going to play. And then my class,
What's the band? That's
Frank
his,
and Eshy,
Just that's
Frank Malfa and Joe Eshy. They're amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Two-man show. But
that's fun.
we're having
That's fun out there,
my
too.
senior class kind of reconnected at our 40th reunion. How long have you guys been out of high school?
What is it? 30?
I'm 35, I think. Graduated in 86, so I'm
Yeah.
over 35, yeah.
Yeah.
So we hit 40,
30.
and then we kind of all reconnected. I got this text string going with a bunch of us. There's 20 some of us, and once in a while we'll send messages back and forth to each other. And then we have a buddy that lives in Nashville that comes every year in July, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm getting ready to come up. What weekend should I come up? This is a big one. We're all going to be 60 years old." I said, "Wait, we're all going to be 60 years old. Why don't we celebrate all of our 60th birthday parties on the same night?"
That's
Our
fun.
whole class.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have 50 people.
That's
Fairways
great.
and Dreams in Pulaski. We got a karaoke band coming in on July 29th.
Let's
It will
dance.
Be, it will
Let's
be
dance.
a shit
Oh my
show.
God,
Let's
a
dance.
karaoke? Will you do karaoke?
Oh my God, you didn't see the video of us?
No, I don't know what you're talking. You post
She's-
too
listen,
much.
she
you
took
post
a break.
too much on Facebook.
The
I can't
last
keep
time
up.
he was up last summer, we had karaoke at the Altmar Hotel on Thursday night. My buddy Rick Hamilton got up, and it was the last song of the night, and he goes, "Sing it if you know the words." And he sang "Turn the Page."
Do I know that one?
I don't
Oh
know.
my God,
Long
Long
and
and lonesome highway. east of
You and I
Omaha.
are.
I'm like,
Should we have a
I will
separate
send you the
podcast?
video. It's
I had black acid wash jeans as well as anybody
my
else.
so
gosh.
would you do karaoke? You would get up and do
Oh, yeah.
karaoke?
Ready?
Go
Ready?
ahead, you start.
Pass the duchy on the left-hand side.
I said-
Pass the duchy on the left-hand side.
toggle down.
How
How does it feel when
Pass
you
the
got
duchy
no
on the
food?
left-hand side. Hey,
Oh my God, that is
my God.
hilarious.
We would do Pass the Duchy and other
If you had
songs.
that out on your social media, you win
Yeah.
the election hands down.
There you go. Yeah.
whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, whiskey.
Whiskey,
Whiskey, Nancy, oh.
She can sing.
The
yeah.
more I
Oh my
kissed
gosh,
John
I
Mannion, the more I loved him.
We sang at our wedding.
Oh my gosh.
You
Oh my
did?
God.
Yeah.
With an Irish
Oh my
band.
gosh.
The
Yeah.
hair of the dog.
Oh
Oh
my
my God,
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
I cannot believe. Would you? So.
But she's
Okay.
she can sing.
Do you
I
like
can't
sit
sing.
around the house with the kids singing?
My kids.
No.
Quinn can sing.
They can all.
Do they get embarrassed or they join in?
I'll tell you this, Brady.
They got it. There's
so
gotta be-
Brady was like, Gomez. Is it Gomez Adams? No,
Gomez
is it-
Adams
in
in
the
the
Adams family.
Yeah.
So he's
In the
like
musical.
into plays and everything, and he can play the guitar and sing. Quinn can sing like Adele. My
Oh my
daughter can
gosh.
sing like Adele, but
she
will
doesn't?
not do it in front of anybody. Like she'll just sing
Interesting.
it with our family.
She's-
She knows she'll post it, so she
Oh,
won't
yeah,
let
of
us
course, yeah.
videotape anything.
She's so. She reminds me more of you.
yes.
Do people say that?
Yeah. Well,
Very like she is so nice, so like very confident, but just like reserved. More,
yeah.
I feel
She's
like.
she's
she's-
sneaky funny too and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
If
and
she's
right.
like in
she's
her
the
own
funniest
niche,
of all of us.
she is. Like when she's with her people.
Yeah. She
she's
worked
hys-
for me for a little
She's
bit. For-
hysterical.
Yeah.
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 She loved it.
Would you fire
What
her,
did
or-
she?
No, I would never.
No.
I got wicked drunk one time at Now and Later and professed my love to her, for her to those two.
Yeah,
While
but
they were there.
No,
she loved
I
you.
was.
She loved working.
They were
here.
there, and I was there,
Yeah.
and I was with
And
my
then she
college
talked
friends.
about the potatoes. What does she love?
The-
Are there
the-
potatoes here?
the fries, but
Yes.
they're house cut. So
That's what she
yeah.
loves them.
Yeah,
She
they're
just
good.
mentioned it before we left, which is funny. So yeah,
yeah.
we had an Irish band, and it was hysterical because
Where'd you get married?
the Empire Room.
Oh, nice.
We were married at
Oh,
Lemoyne.
Lemoyne College,
And then we
yeah.
had a reception at the Empire Room. But back to
Who ran it then?
Billy Jackson and
I don't know him.
yeah, Billy Jackson.
I can't remember who.
I
I
talked
thought
to
it was
Billy
him.
that day.
Yeah, I thought he was the main.
Yeah, I don't know if Peter Capicilli was in.
But we
Oh, okay,
had
yeah.
Billy
so
Jackson at that
Yeah.
time.
so
Yeah.
we had a band.
There's
We had
one
an
other.
Irish band, and he and I worked at Coleman's. And before I was dating him, I said to the band, "You're playing at my wedding. I
She had
love
the
you
band
guys.
Oh my gosh.
She had the
You're so
The engagement? Yeah.
so
band before the man.
they played it.
That's right.
There's
Before the
this
man.
one song. He won the heart of a lady, and they would play during our wedding. He won the heart of a Brady, and it was
Oh,
really
that's
funny.
cool.
So anyway, we had "I Will" by the Beatles was going to be our wedding song. So we get out there, and they only had a CD, and he had this like old
So they weren't going to play "I Will."
Yeah.
We were just going to play the song.
the
on a
the CD player, right? So
Yeah.
so his CD
okay.
player was so old, it was like falling apart. We get out there, and they shout to us, we can't get it to play. And we're out there. And
This
I'm
is
like,
your wedding song.
This is our
we're
wedding
waiting
song.
to
We're waiting
dance
Oh my
for our
God.
wedding song.
so
okay.
they say we can't get it to play. And all I can think, I shout out the slowest song that I know they play, and it's called The Town I Loved So Well. So as we're dancing, it's all about bombs and tanks in Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
But it was
Great way to start.
it was so beautiful,
But
and
it's a
everybody
beautiful
was
song
like,
in many ways,
it
yeah.
sounded beautiful, but when you heard the lyrics, it was all about war and death and pillage. But anyway, that's our story.
We're going through weddings. My son's just got engaged, and
Oh,
we
fun.
love Jenna. Shout out to Jenna.
Yeah.
But they're getting married, and it's challenging. There's a lot of stress and,
Sure.
and stuff, and it's not cheap. I mean, how old's
Well,
Jack? Is
Jack is
24?
Yeah, we
24.
were married in '97, and you know,
what
her
were they?
dad laid down the rules, which were I'm going to pay for the reception, which was great, and I think actually pretty reasonable. But
Yeah, but it was
she
expensive at the
went
time.
to college and lived at home, and worked. So she had money, and I, who was employed,
He
didn't have
sponged
anything.
off on me.
So she paid. She paid for the band. She paid for the flowers. She paid for the cake.
How many people you think then?
250 we had. Or wait, is that? Oh, how
Oh,
much?
yeah,
How many people and how much?
we had about 250 at our wedding, and it was
the reception with the bar open was under $10,000.
It was just
That's
under.
You know what it
Crazy.
cost? So Jenna and Zach
I'm
are looking
sure
at,
it's crazy.
$40,000 to
Oh my
get married
God.
anywhere.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So she was very challenged. It's expensive, and it's
Well,
to be
there's so
honest,
much
it's not a.
shit that you
I
have to
know.
It's
do,
kind of
too.
irresponsible to spend more than that.
It is,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
also like
60, 70
I kind of
grand?
love how
know.
everybody's doing different things. Like everybody did the same thing back then. We all had,
went-
8 bridesmaids, and like
Yeah.
it was just this. You went to it, and you're like, oh, another one, the same. I feel like people are doing different things now.
I would elope, I think.
You think?
Yeah. And
If
then
you ever get asked.
yeah. That's probably why
That
he's
was
not
a little
asking.
too easy.
That
Yeah.
was
Come on,
so-
you gotta
yeah.
set up.
I know.
You just set
I
him
know.
up.
I know. Well, whatever. That's probably why. No, he's just not asking because we are not ready. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, and then like in a while, like maybe have a big reception.
Sure.
But it's so
I know.
and even like some of the dates, like my brother's they're looking for like a year and a half
Yeah, it's a
out
year and a half
for
out.
Yeah.
dates.
Right.
I'm like, what do you?
Well,
are
probably
we
with
still
the
gonna love each
COVID.
other in a year and a half? Like,
What they're getting married at
relax.
Dibbles Inn out in Vernon.
nice.
Of course,
Yeah.
Dibbles.
David Sturpey's a good friend of mine. I've been
Yeah.
knowing Dave 30 years. He
That's
gave him a
great.
very good deal. It's all kind of there. He does a great job. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
She seems pretty happy about it, as much as she
Good.
can be. You
Exciting.
just hope everything doesn't go
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah.
you spend more than that. I've heard people spending 70, 80 grand.
No.
That's
I mean,
irresponsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and we've been to some where it's like
Well, they know
like
they're-
the guys or the bridesmaids get dresses that they're going to wear again.
$2,500.
The guys don't rent a tux; they get they buy a sport coat and a
suit,
tie
yeah,
that they're going to
it's
wear
a little
again.
different, but
Some of that, and that's not even the cost for the couple. But I want to
one funny thing is we were coming into Coleman's one time. This was in 2020. It was before he had won, and they had all these absentee ballots that they had to count. So
Sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah.
always interesting.
so there were only 8,000 that time, but we said, hey, let's go into Coleman's and have a cocktail. So as we're walking in, we see this couple and their dog, and I say to him, I go, I think they just got engaged. I don't know if so we come upon this couple. They just got engaged. We have no idea who
They
they
asked
are.
you to
and
take a picture.
And they're like, you're the first people that we're seeing, and they're all
my
excited.
gosh.
Yeah, so,
So
it was
Jen
kind of
took
cool.
their picture.
So
They're
I
like,
take-
"Can you take the picture?"
Yeah, so I take a picture of them. And then fast forward like 3 or 4 months later, and he said, we didn't know who you were. And then we're watching TV, and we see that you won. And he goes, that's the guy that took our picture. He and his
Oh my
wife.
God, he's the senator,
So-
but he's the guy that took our
Yeah,
picture.
so
I'm
then
like,
he said, will you officiate our wedding?
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's
So-
cool as hell.
It was
great.
so cool. So we went to Rochester knowing no one. And I do believe that I could be a wedding crasher after that because I met this whole family and I loved them all.
Yeah, it's
We
great.
didn't
Oh
know
my
anyone.
gosh.
We went to the rehearsal dinner and the wedding, and it was
But you could put. I mean, you and I are similar. I think
we could
You could
yeah.
drop us anywhere, and we'd make friends.
Figure it
maybe
out.
that
Yeah.
maybe we could do a podcast where we do that.
Crash a wedding.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Ryan could hook us up.
Ready?
He does weddings all
Oh
the
my
time.
God.
Ryan!
Wheels on
I
that
do kind
tripod.
of
We'll take a
feel
field
like-
trip, Ryan.
I feel like I would want to crash a wedding at
Yeah.
some point. I definitely think I would be too nervous because I would be like, I need a backstory, but you really don't.
No.
Yeah.
Like people don't care. Like I was just at a wedding and I was just talking to literally whoever and just not even listening to what they were
But
saying.
also,
to be
we're all
honest.
from Syracuse, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she looks familiar. How do I know her?"
Yeah, that's true.
Well, but you got to watch. Do you have to find yourself having to be careful when you're out having that extra beer?
I mean, I don't have the extra beer, to be fair. You know, I mean, I
but
just
you
don't.
did you
yeah.
before, where maybe you
Not real. You know, I mean, listen,
you don't hold back. You're not holding back now. So when you're out,
I would say this, like, if we're gonna go out, like, one of the kids might drop us off or pick us up, but we
Yeah.
don't do it that often. Like, if
No.
we're going to something that's like a longer event where you want to have a good time.
Yeah, if we
you
want to
know?
have a good time, we make sure we set it. You know, we want to have a good time and have a few drinks and not think about it.
but I mean,
we're-
are you worried about
trained.
people's perception
Oh,
of
no.
you?
Yeah, you know. But again, I was not in this business forever, and I'm not going to be in this business forever. So, and to like Michelle's point earlier, you know, part of me didn't really like that either. You know, as how people who are whatever in the public kind of have to be so scripted and
Yeah.
milk toast and all that. So, I mean, and I am that to a degree anyway. But
There are times
we
where-
have fun, and there's times where we were at a restaurant one time. This guy sidled up to our table, and I watched him hit record on his phone. So he was like audio taping our
Wow.
conversation. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What the
Sure.
hell?
That
See,
was
that
it.
I wouldn't be able to. I would not be good.
Well, I
because-
was laughing because one time we
What the
had gone
hell?
out and I was starving, so I got like a chicken sandwich or something, and I'm like, and I look up and I see this woman's
click, click,
watching me
Oh my
like
God.
eat every bite, and I'm like, oh God, I have to act dainty because she's watching me
God.
like,
Oh.
Have you ever
know,
been threatened or feel threatened?
It's really well. I'll go to the threatened thing. I mean, it's really not that bad. It's really not
No,
bad.
no.
People are really cool, and you know, most people are very positive. It's really hasn't.
they'll
been,
say like, thank
it
you for
hasn't-
all you're doing at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, might buy you a beer, like
Yeah.
bring it to the table. You know, it's just kind of nice little things more
I
than
never
anything.
And there have
approach-
been things people.
Never approach anybody
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
I really know
Yeah.
them. I don't go up and say anything.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it's really positive.
It really
you just
is.
have a couple
it,
of funny things.
It really
you
is
know?
positive. Some people are unhinged, and our office has received calls, and we've had to report them.
Really, but you never been in a situation where you felt you're.
Well, we
the
were
person-
one time. We were out actually. Remember that time? I mean, the guy was clearly intoxicated and wanted
yes.
wanted a confrontational situation with me, and it was at Now and Later. And I hate to say that because Jason, you
Jason's
know, I
a
love
great guy.
Jason.
I love
the-
We
everything
love
It's a
he
great
does.
place, and we love going there.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
go there all the time. And we've been around. You know, I mean, we spend a lot of our adult lives in restaurants and bars, so we know what we're.
Yeah.
You know how to make sure you don't say something or do something stupid. But anyway, this guy, you know, was like, "What are you doing here?" and was basically kind of coming at me. And we just, you know, what is unfortunate is sometimes, rarely, you have to like change your plans. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to be here. And then there's other.
That stinks.
And it. I will say this too, like from
was
a
really drunk.
but from a
And somebody got
standpoint,
him
if
away.
you if we are, it's rare again, but if we're somewhere for too long, eventually somebody gets
the nerve
to come up and say something.
I don't
And
ever.
and if you're in a setting where it's not, it's bar and restaurant where they're drinking, and that's usually what gives them the courage to come up and say something. It is very rare that it's happened
Yeah.
though. Very rare.
I would never. I've been around people
Yeah.
that. But if I saw you guys, I'm considered
Yeah.
friends. I would go up and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
what up?"
Yeah.
Or Ryan or John or whoever, anybody.
But
We
for
were-
like 1 minute. Like,
1
hey,
minute,
how's
sure.
it going?
And-
Here's a little fun. How are you?
But we don't
Story,
feel that
story,
way. I
and
mean,
then-
No,
he
no.
and I are like, you want to talk
But
to
you're
people.
right. People
We're
are pretty
always-
cool. I was
yeah.
out.
They're
at-
very cool.
My
Yeah.
my
so.
dad goes to our diner all the time. Shout out to our diner in Central
Mm-hmm.
Square. They're the greatest people over there to him all the time. And Robin and her sister Sherry are ball busters. And I'm in there. We went for lunch one day on a Friday, and I look over. I didn't think anything of it. Two guys sitting at the bar, young guys. And Robin comes over and goes, "That's Joe Girard." I
Oh,
go,
yeah.
"What? That's
Oh,
Joe
wow.
Girard." And I look, I go, "What?"
That's cool.
And we were there for 40 minutes, 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not one person when they were leaving said, "Hey,
Yeah.
congrats." And he asked them if they wanted a picture, but nobody bothered him.
Yeah.
Does he have family?
No, so
around
what
it?
happened was his car, he was getting his hair cut in Brewerton, and his car broke down, and somebody said, in Cicero, I guess, and they took his car to a garage in Brewerton. They said, "Is there any place to eat lunch?" So they brought him
Interesting.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing I know, Robin's up and asked him to get a picture.
That's really cool.
She goes, I go, "What the fuck, man?" She goes, "What's the matter?" I go, "I'm pretty famous. You never asked to get your picture taken with me, but you got your picture taken with Joe Girard."
Yeah.
And that's the game. That was that Friday. That was that Saturday game. He went out and had like 26
27
points.
or something, yeah.
Because of the
Yeah.
pancakes.
That's fantastic.
Pancakes.
But nobody
Oh, yeah.
hassled him or bothered him or
Yeah.
come up and gave him hell.
Yeah.
But you look online, Joe Girard sucks, and
Right.
all this
Yeah,
stuff.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
he
Yeah, we didn't.
but when you're face to face, they don't maybe
Yeah.
have enough.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of that. We
No,
really don't.
No.
Back to the
is good.
wedding. Can I
Yeah.
go back to our wedding?
Yes.
Sure.
But I went to Binghamton, like I said, so we, this doesn't mean anything to us upstaters, but it does to them. So they get our wedding invitations, right? My guys from college that I invite, and they get them. They're like, oh, of course, Mannion's getting married at the fairgrounds,
At
Oh
the
my
fair. Whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
So Cortez or Little Venice?
Huh?
Best Italian restaurant in Binghamton.
Oh,
There's two.
I gotcha. Yeah. You know what? It's embarrassing.
You were
Well, let's
going to
remember I was
Mannion,
in college,
right,
so
so you
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we used to
I'm
go.
like, what?
and it
Lupo-
Lupos or Sharkies for
might have been-
Speedies.
Might have been Cortez because I don't know
Cortez.
if that's like, sort of. I was on the west side, so it was like past downtown.
Yes. yeah.
Kind of close to the river, I think. So, but of course, 6 of us would show up on a Friday night at like 5 o'clock and go in there to order food. But we wouldn't. We were getting like as many $3.95
Yes, yeah.
pizzas as we could get, and like eating up their table space for
How many?
God knows how
many
long.
hands do you think you've shaken in your life? How many hands do you think you've shaken?
Uh,
10,000.
Good question. Let's say 10,000. Yeah, but it's funny,
If you shake hands with Chris Cortez, I guarantee you that's the hardest
right?
handshake I've ever had. You literally might break your knuckles shaking
Sure.
your hand. He's the hardest handshake I've ever had anybody shake my
Good.
hand.
Yeah.
Good to
I'll
know.
keep that in mind.
And Speedies, you have to be a Speedies
Speedies,
guy.
yeah.
You have the weirdest.
Oh my God,
Things
Lupos
that
or
you
Sharkies?
remember
I
Sharkies
think
is
you
out of
might need
business.
to change the
Sharkies.
title back.
So the big
Yeah,
question's
like
always been
the
who started the
things
best,
that you
whose
think about
restaurant came
people.
first?
Uh-huh.
Italian,
Uh-huh.
Little Venice or Cortez,
Cortez.
and who started Speedies?
Right.
Lupos or Sharkies?
Interesting,
But
yeah.
Marie Sharkey, their business just went out of
Right.
Is that
business.
where Speedies are from? Is Binghamton?
Binghamton,
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that.
Me
Yeah.
either. I
Yeah.
thought it was
Wasn't
like
that a fair
Syracuse.
thing?
And to be fair, I
What's
mean,
a Speedy sauce?
I like buffalo or barbecue better than I like Speedy
Speedies?
sauce. I
Yeah,
never really loved
I
the
like
Speedies.
buffalo
You
sauce
love
better.
buffalo sauce on everything.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay,
That's
enough
so
of
funny.
I've been
Right.
talking too much. So.
Okay.
What?
But now we probably should talk. We got what?
Are we
Oh,
supposed to
what's he
talk
got back?
about restaurants or what?
Yeah,
Like,
oh my
what?
God.
Well, wait. Let
We
me
wanna
ask
know-
you. You guys both worked at Coleman's.
We did.
did.
Yeah. So what'd
did.
you do?
So did
Did
you
I
work-
tell this story last time?
I
You
don't
said something about
remember.
prep cooking.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this is so
I think
Oh,
I
that's
told
right.
It, but,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But you tell them what you know. Yeah.
because we're like an old married couple and we say
We
the
are
same
an old
thing.
married couple now.
So I think you might have worked. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you work at Coleman's before I started working?
I
at
worked
Coleman's
like
and then-
intermittently
oh,
there.
okay.
Like this was Pete. Pete would let me, probably 3 different times. It would be like, is there anything? And I was
bring
always
it
in the
back.
kitchen, but he was either
Class
washing
act,
dishes
great guy.
or
Oh
prep
my
cooking.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
great
had
guy.
I would laugh so hard because he could say anything to anyone, and he didn't offend 90-year-old
Yeah.
women or whatever. And I mean, it was so joyful. I just remember him walking around like just changing light bulbs. That's all he did everywhere.
gosh.
Then
But
saying
I was a
something.
hostess there.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I
that's right,
tried,
that's
I
right.
have to say this, I tried to waitress and I was having dreams about waitressing. I was like, if I had more than 5 tables, I was all over the place. I'd ask like, what kind of bread do you want with a Reuben, an open faced Reuben? Like just stupid questions, I wasn't terrible, but I ended up going back to hostessing, and a shout out to everybody that's a waitress because I
tough,
do
yes.
believe it's like a hard job. I always want to go back to it. I think when I retire, I do want to be a bartender somewhere.
You would
it's
be a
like
good one.
it's
Oh
really,
my God, you'd be a great.
It's
you-
really something
you need
I
somebody
want
to make
do.
all the drinks. You just talk.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can give him a Bud Light. I
Yes,
can
there you
twist
go.
the cap off of that, But I do.
Hannah could give you some training because
yeah,
she's a great.
I
waitress
love
here,
watching
so.
her mix
She's-
the drinks.
That's well,
No,
okay.
that's
Is that your sister?
no. People think
Wait.
that
That's
all the
Oh
time.
my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it's Melissa. She's been with us for like
Do they
almost
look so
6.
much alike then?
They
Or not-
do. She
yeah.
just looks like she's related to us,
That's
and so, but she pretends that she's related to us
Yeah.
too.
But her sister Hannah is
My
like the best
sister
waitress
is a
here.
server here.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
the business is
Yeah.
doing so much
Gotcha.
better.
Yeah.
So,
Gonna-
but we
gonna
probably
finish
should
your
talk
hostessing
about.
Oh,
story?
so
yeah. So you host.
So
yes, yes.
I would come in at 10:30. Sometimes I would go to mass, or I'd go into church at St. Pat's at 10 o'clock just
praying
before.
I didn't cut one of my fingers off.
Well,
Yeah.
I should have prayed for that because you did do that. But
did,
like,
on my birthday.
I would say a prayer at St. Pat's, like I was thankful for him. But then one time after that, I went into Coleman's and I pop in the kitchen, and he was a prep cook, so he had been there since 6 in the morning, and he's got acid washed black jeans
Nice.
and a Pittsburgh Steeler like mesh top. and he's macking in it on a like
Turkey
corned
sandwich.
beef
Yeah.
sandwich,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this might be it. I might be done with him. It was so gross.
We
I'm
survived.
like, it's 10 in the
we
morning.
worked together and survived.
It was
That's-
fun, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
that is
God bless
something.
the people that work together every day
That are
Yes.
married, yeah.
that
yes.
are married, because that's hard. I mean, you guys do kind of.
Well, the funny thing is,
Yeah.
he and I, when we taught, we were home together all summer. You know, we did a
Right.
lot. By the end
Oh.
of August, we were, getting on each other's nerves,
Are
but not
you-
really bad.
Where are you now?
So I'm in the city of Syracuse. So
Okay.
he and I had taught in the city for 4
You're not at West Jenny
years.
anymore?
No. So I taught in the city. Jaime Alisea, who was the previous superintendent
Oh,
in the
yeah, yeah.
city, was my first principal. I taught there with my mom, who was a kindergarten teacher, and she
gosh.
was there for 10 years. So she had stayed home with us for a long time and then taught kindergarten for 10 years, and she had a brain tumor and died that year. So Jaime was her last principal and my first. And I went to West Jenny for 20 years. I was an instructional specialist, so I did reading intervention with kids. And he kept asking me, will you come back, Jaime? I want you to be a coach for teachers. And I said no a couple times. And then finally, I'm like, he had become a senator. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's an amazing leader. And I'm going to say yes. And I went back to the city last year, and I'm so happy I
you
did.
happy?
I
Yeah.
am, and I love it. But I enjoyed my time at West Jenny. It was great.
Do you miss the kids?
I do, but I get to see them working on the
that's
things that, so I do a lot of curriculum writing, and I get to see the things that they're working on and help teachers. So that's really
That's
fun.
nice.
And I love it.
A lot of people now
My
I know
boss
are
is
retiring
hysterical.
as soon as they can.
I
It's so
know, I
hard.
know.
They're seeing what kids are going through, and they're dealing with some parents that maybe think they should have a larger voice,
Mm-hmm.
and grandparents. And I know friends that coach that are like, I'm done.
It
It
just,
has changed.
It's
It
just so
really
hard.
has,
Like
yeah.
the kids are, I mean,
And they need that, man. They need
these
that.
little
Yeah.
kids are going through so much. I can't tell you that we would always, the last day of school, you stand out on the
Oh my gosh,
roadside and we wave to the kids that get on the bus. And before you'd have like 1 or 2 kids crying. You've got like 10 kids crying because that was the place where they felt loved and comforted.
Well, you think of this.
and,
You're in
you
West
know,
Jenny. She's a private school kid. So they have a special. I'm in APW.
I'm a Gaelic Knight myself.
Yeah.
When you sometimes
You're
I was a
acting like
Cobra.
Well, you're acting like it was this big prestigious school. Like it was
private
just
school.
flooded.
In
Yeah.
APW, when you go to school, we're poor community. Hannibal, APW, those school districts. There's sometimes, probably worse now, when the only meal that kid gets
Right.
is during the school year.
That's right. That's
right.
So when they're waving, they're really crying and waving. Maybe they have a single mom
Sure.
situation,
Yeah.
single dad, or living with grandparents. They don't have somebody that takes the time to sit with them, and it's challenging, man.
And I mean, even though like people think, and people would say this to me, oh, you're at West Jenny where it's, this golden,
Yeah.
the same things are happening out there, like with
Yeah.
mental illness and,
Yeah.
kids that are having
Very-
trouble
yeah.
and, parents are in crisis and these kids are watching
Yeah.
what's happening. And I would see these kids and I would think, how on earth are they getting through the day when this has happened to them? And
How old's your youngest?
He's 19. He's a freshman in college.
So I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to. Would you want to be 16 today?
no,
I wouldn't want my kid to
I
be
know.
16
It's-
today.
there's
He's
so much.
29. I'm glad.
yeah.
It's no offense, but he's going to have
tougher.
he's going to have some challenges.
Yeah, thanks for no. I know.
We got
I know.
7 minutes. left.
Lightning
Sorry,
round.
no
Oh, okay.
questions.
This
Lightning
is going
round.
by fast.
Yes,
I
this is
know.
really good. So we
I feel
probably
like
should
I'm with
talk
old
about
friends.
It's just easy. I feel like to
Yeah.
just chat
with you.
Yeah.
the same we
Yep.
would do when we're out to dinner, because we got to schedule
We
the
do
dinner
have to do
together.
Yeah.
that.
We do.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. You gotta.
is there
meet
something new
Pat.
that-
you know
Leader
Pat?
Hosen.
Yeah,
He's
I
got to
know.
wear that.
What's Pat's last name? I should know Pat. Brown.
Yeah, Brown.
Oh yeah, I know the family of Brown. There's a million Browns.
Yeah, he's
What's his dad's name?
Tom.
Tom Brown.
Yeah. So he just retired from
Right.
Syracuse. Post Standard. He was at
Gotcha.
the Post Standard for a
Okay.
long time.
Right.
And then.
Is there anything new that you like for this next 2 years that
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
you felt like you didn't get accomplished that you're really looking to
Um,
accomplish now? Or
That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of things. They're really big picture things. Many of them, like we know some of the things you talked about, like when it comes to teaching and healthcare, like so many people over the course of the pandemic were just like maybe they had their plans to like retire, but then they got mandated double shifts over and over again. They watched people die in the hospital. Their quality of life, and they were just like, you know what, I've done it. Like I'm 56 or 61 or whatever, and I'm done. So it's like we got to rebuild our healthcare workforce is
Yeah.
one thing. Another, I would say, kind of similar to that is I'm disabilities chair. So we need to pay people who work, especially
Yeah.
individually with people with disabilities, because of the rising minimum wage. Some of these individuals are leaving working with people with disabilities, and they really don't want to.
Go to retail and make more money.
Right,
And it's
they're
just
going,
not.
they'll
It's
go to
not.
Target
It's
and
not as
make,
stressful, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, when you're working with people that need support, sometimes things go wrong, and then they're highly scrutinized as a result of that, and that can be stressful. And along those lines, there's also these schools called 853 and 4410 schools. So like Main Street out there works some of the most challenging kids, and this gets a little legislative, but like their funding isn't tied to like school district funding. These schools were created to help our neediest students, some of which are preschool age, some need residential settings through their school years. So they're like at the back end. They have unpredictable funding, and like 60 of them have closed
Oh my
statewide
gosh.
over the
Wow.
last 10 years. So it really has to do with how we fund them, and we don't fund them with parity compared to school districts. So that's something.
and those
see, that's
kids
a- that's a
need
part of a
early
job. Yeah.
intervention, you know, they need
That's
that.
part of the job that it can't
Right.
be fun. Always worrying about the money piece.
Yeah.
You know?
And
It's-
somebody's got to, I mean, and this is where you got to say it, you know, the money doesn't grow on trees.
No.
Somebody's, you know, Michelle and the restaurants you represent, you know, I mean, they've got to pay workers' comp, they've got to pay for paid family leave.
They got to pay a higher unemployment, even though they weren't supposed to.
It was wrong. That's wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I had some of my colleagues proposed making sure we take some of those funds and replenish that, and I was supportive of that. I mean, I could sit here all day and talk about that, but I am pragmatic. Like I was closely enough connected to small businesses to know how challenging it is for small
Yeah.
businesses, and I talk to people about it, and they're like, John, you know, blah blah, you know, whatever they have to say. So I hear them, and from, you know, an affordability standpoint, it's real. And
But when we, you know what,
I don't
maybe
know.
I'm wrong, but when and I'm just my own personal opinion, and the people I work with or call friends, when you hear somebody say big picture, I just feel like in central New York, we assume that means nothing's coming to us. We need small picture sometimes. I'm not
Sure.
Sure.
but when you hear big picture, you think, oh, it's going to be for the whole state, and
Yeah.
Albany's
Yeah.
going to get the money in New York City.
Right.
But is there anything that's
so let me-
happening local?
yeah, first of all, like the Micron piece, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's challenging now too. They're dropping their workforce.
Yeah,
Everybody's getting nervous about the press reporting that.
yeah, I don't blame them, but I feel very confident. I was just with a Micron representative today who was down for, we're taping this on Martin Luther King Day, right? So he was there for an event which was like, you know, to support community with certain items. But I feel very good about that, and that they're coming.
Good.
Like they're on board. But I was a big part of this green chips legislation, which is a state level program where if they use green energy and they hit their job numbers, the state supports them with tax incentives. You know, so that's something. I got to say this about, you know, for me, it's all about the local stuff.
Yeah.
I watched John DeFrancisco, right? Not the other party. John DeFrancisco, who's very well liked and honestly very effective,
Yeah.
and in the majority, which I am now too, was everybody knew he was fighting for Central New York. So when I can help put pickleball courts in at
I'd
the
like to see
town
that's
of
perfect.
Camillus
Right.
or the village of Camillus, or we can put in a new salt shed or an ADA compliant playground or bathrooms or whatever. We're doing that all the time. You know, the folks out on Cross Lake and the Seneca River who are underwater. You know, I passed legislation to establish a task force so they would look at that. I mean, they literally were underwater for 3 months.
Yeah.
I heard stories from families that would they had to put their kids in kayaks to get them to
get on
the
the
bus
bus,
stop.
yeah.
So all of that. So for me, it really is all about local. And I tell you, it's funny, Bud, because the last time you asked me something, or Michelle did when I was here before, it's like I get that question, like, what are your priorities for the upcoming year? And those are the big picture priorities. But the bottom line is, I go to these municipalities and I talk to the leaders of those, and then I help them. And my new district, I have 20 towns and cities 18 of them are run by Republicans. You know, they have
Wow, yeah.
a right. And then you expand that to include the villages, 33 municipalities that are villages, towns, or cities, 30 of them are Republican run.
Do you think there's a challenge? So if,
No way, man, 'cause it's like-
it's bipartisan, right?
Oh yeah,
there.
because I'm in the
teamwork. You have to
majority.
help everyone.
I go talk to Billy Barlow in
Yeah.
Oswego or whomever, you know, town supervisors like I did in my old district, and I'm like, how can we help you? What can
I
we
like
do
that. I
to
like
write a
that.
letter of support or this? And you know, again, I ate up a lot of the time there, but I will say
Well, you've
that,
said to me, which
Yeah.
I like, is look, if you know somebody that needs something, ask.
That's
Right.
right.
Don't know,
That's exactly right.
Don't criticize you or the party or
Sure.
politicians in general for not getting shit done. If you need something, you need your sidewalk fixed, you need a traffic light, you need something, ask.
It's and honestly, it's one of the greatest things because you know people will ask for a $240,000 grant for. It could be, you know, a leaf sucker. It could
Yep.
be a street sweeper. But it's usually more something that like it's a priority for the town, but they can't do it. You know,
Right.
the Carno Center out here in Lakeland, right? We're doing renovation there. This happens to be in my town of Geddes. You know, those are state dollars
Yep.
that are going to support that. So, you
I
know,
just like that you're accessible.
But I mean,
Yeah.
that's how he met you. He said, this guy, Bud, I'm talking to him about, this was
Yeah.
when the restaurants were all in orange and they were closed. And how is this restaurant a mile away open?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
these people can be, responsible, they can keep the restaurants open. And he goes, I love this guy. He keeps calling me and I'm trying. And that's
Yeah.
how
I
you.
text a lot, so I
And-
No,
apologize.
listen to me.
Too
He
many
really,
texts.
no,
It's
no, he
too
really,
many
he really
texts.
appreciated
Well, I appreciate it,
knowing
yeah.
what you wanted and what,
Yeah.
what was
and I
needed,
know we're hurting
so.
for time, but I got
Yeah.
to say two or three things about you, which is this. Number one, you know that's an unfriendly crowd.
Yes.
Number two, I know it's an unfriendly crowd,
Yes.
but you and I both know how important it is to make sure we engage that crowd. And then Bud Laura, being Mr. Smoothie, made sure that it was not a situation where I was going to fail. Because,
No, yeah.
people could have been upset and been like, politicians are awful. You're ruining this. It's all about New York City or DC or whatever they wanted to say. But you wouldn't let that happen because it wouldn't have been productive anyway. So what we did
Well, I
was
got- I
something
caught
really
hell.
productive.
I caught hell. I posted and we posted and
Right.
stuff about supporting you, and my buddies would be like, "Oh my God, he's a Democrat." I go, "Meet him. You
Doesn't
want to meet
matter,
him? Come out to dinner. Meet him and his wife,
People
and
say
you
that.
sit different."
Yeah,
People
and
say
it makes
that,
it
but-
makes all of this better.
Yeah.
And last
And
night,
I told him that we're having dinner in the district. All
Yes.
of the places that are in the videos, he and I are going to.
we're gonna go.
Tell us. We'll go with you.
the
When you-
We're going to
Mimi's,
Mimi's, we're going to-
drive-in.
yeah.
We
Like
do.
I want to.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not a
over.
drive-in.
Yeah, which you're not driving, but meanies, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Call
Yeah.
it a drive-in.
We'll
Tell
make
us
it.
when you're going. I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I have some spare time.
Well, well,
What's the question you ask?
I just
We already
always,
asked Jen,
yeah,
you can ask
but
Jen.
if people wanted to take away one thing about you, what would you want it to be?
They never
That
met you
you're
before,
a
but now they-
singer, a karaoke singer. Besides that,
I would say that I hope that I support my children to go
that's
out
cool.
into the world and be productive, caring, helping people, and that they're happy.
cool.
That's
a
the
cool
most
one.
important
I
thing.
love that one.
I think you can judge a lot
Can I-
about a person.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I mansplain that?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I was just joking,
Yeah.
of course. But like answered that question, and I kept talking in circles, and you answered it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this about my love and
Don't make me cry.
I know, but she is a leader, is what she wants her kids to be productive members of society and to carry themselves in a positive way, and you do that. But she really has that expectation for everyone.
Not just her own family,
She gets
yeah.
very frustrated. You get very frustrated when people don't do the right thing when they can, and sometimes it takes a little bit of courage or bravery to do that. But she does that. And I wouldn't be here.
Well,
I wouldn't be here.
am a
without-
fangirl
yeah.
of your guys' relationship.
Oh my
just
gosh,
so you
I am
know.
too. I'm
Love
a fan.
it.
The
Fan man.
best.
You could be a fangirl.
I'm not a fan girl.
Who cares? Gender's a construct.
Oh my God! Don't. That's a whole nother podcast.
I'm going to watch that podcast with you too.
Get
Oh
the
my gosh, that
popcorn
would
ready.
not. I don't think we could post it. But I will say the last thing I say is you can tell a lot about people when you meet their kids. And I coached my son and some of his friends during basketball and stuff. And when you see that kid now, or you met that kid then, and I run into
sure he's
kids
a
now
great
that,
kid.
that walk up and say, "Mr. Laura, how you doing?" Like out of the blue.
Love it.
When,
Yep.
when you raise good kids, then it tells you something about your character.
Yeah,
so you're raising a good kid.
That's right.
So, you know,
That's right.
I got a teacher, his first parent-teacher conference today. So that's why we have a
fantastic.
hard stop, because I got to
Yeah.
get there.
Oh, gosh,
Absolutely.
no worries.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't want to be
Yes.
late for that.
No, I know. I'm nervous because I'm
We
like,
went
I was
to-
trying to fish. I'm like, so if I'm going to meet your teachers, what are they going to say? He's like, 4. What are they going to say?
Yeah.
And he was like, one time we were on the mat and I was on the bottom and then they jumped, everybody jumped. And that was the story. So I was like, okay. That,
Good he's
At
telling-
least
at
good
least
he's
he's telling me the
disclosing.
truth.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't
so,
defend you in there if you don't tell me you're not
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We,
But
we're both teachers, and we went to the parent-teacher conference. One was at a different school, and the other, and we flip-flopped and went to the wrong conference time. So
Oh,
we
geez.
went to the wrong kid, and they're like, "You will be talked about because both of you are teachers, and you should
oh my
know
gosh,
better
you should
about
know
what."
better. Oh my
That's
God.
funny.
what time.
Funny.
And we
But
won't
we're
tell
going-
the story about when one of our schools had open house on St. Patrick's Day.
Why would you have open house on St. Patrick's
I
Day?
know.
They
it just
didn't run
was-
it through the committee, I don't think. So.
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
But it was very entertaining to be there with a bunch of other
Yes.
parents.
Yes.
well, thank you guys.
Yes, thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Oh my
This was
gosh,
so
this
much
was
fun.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was
We
a
appreciate
blast.
it.
This
Yeah.
was a blast.